Yes. Welcome in. It's Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you on the program. Come on in. The water is warm. Air Comfort Service text line invites your...
Something happened. You all right? Ryder, I think my host broke.
Your takes. 314-399-9646. And then the YouTube chat. John Scores says TMA ran late because Jackson was spewing more Pat McAfee and Morgan Wallen hate.
I don't hate them. See, this is what I don't like. I don't like when my opinions get bastardized and misinterpreted.
I suggest withdrawing from the industry if this isn't going to be something you enjoy.
All right. Well, then I'll just keep fighting the good fight.
Oh, good for you. There it is. Fight the good fight. Now, here's what we got here. They call this honesty in media. That's what they call this. Thinking about renaming it. And I said to Jackson, and I think I said it on TMA this morning, I said, is today a day where I'm going to be Venmoing Balloon Party listeners? Because if we're really going to do a deep dive on something, I don't know what we got. I don't know what the Little Piddles Tuesday thoroughfare could possibly have that is going to be when we get down to it. If we were to say to the audience, no, this is the hot topic in St. Louis sports today, I mean, what would it be? Oh,
my questions have nothing to do with what's going on.
I understand.
Locally.
And I was prepared to Venmo a listener $50, as I did last week. Gentleman came up with the question that activated Randy Carricker. He came in here to discuss the topic of Eli Drinkwitz possibly leaving. So I thought, okay, today's going to be another Venmo day. And then Jackson said, no. You woke up inspired, so much so that when the questions came to you, like Gabriel the Archangel is what you actually said. Now, that resonated with me.
Right.
Since I went to St. Gabriel's.
Right.
Like Gabriel the Archangel, you immediately began typing in the notes app to make sure that you didn't forget these questions that you were so excited about on today's balloon party.
Yeah. That happens throughout the day, usually.
Or you're inspired.
Something pops up in my head, and I try to write it down as quickly as possible so I don't forget it. And that's just the modern technology is so wonderful. You don't have to carry a pen anymore, all the trouble with that. But, yeah, I mean, locally, like any topic, I mean, it's nice that Andre Palante had a good outing yesterday, but it's kind of like getting a shipment of...
I was surprised that the Pirates didn't really grind their at-bats, and he got through 7 innings on 100 pitches.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're losing the war and you get a shipment of Famous Amos cookies. Like, it's nice, but it's not going to win us the war.
We're leaving a lot of money on there, out there. We're not betting these unders.
Yeah, Cardinals, Pirates especially. Like Cardinals, Reds, Cardinals, Pirates, Blue Jay.
Now they've packed it in St. Louis, Cardinals and Pirates. Pirates up there not really taking long at-bats.
Well, the guys know that even if they go, we're 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, that they'll be right back. They'll have their 5th spot.
IKF wanted to play last night. Other than that, Pirates.
Ian Kinsler,
yes.
Ferrado,
correct. Ferrado's Thin Crust. Jeff Parrott, St. Gabriel's class of 90, owner.
They got good gnocchi. You like gnocchi?
What's going on over there? You're trying to show your sophisticated palate, and you got distracted by
gnocchi?
posing. I guess I've had it when you grow up where I grew up,
Right, you eat gruel.
So yeah, we didn't get gnocchi nights like at Horton Watkins. So what are we having for lunch?
Hardtack.
And it's gnocchi on Tuesday's always gnocchi day. And we'll have sashimi on Wednesday. That's not what it was like at St. Gabriel's.
At where I went to.
We were like, oh, she wore a hairnet today. Good.
We would get people know this, the square pizza, the big square pizza, delicious.
I got to agree with you on that.
So good.
I would call it more rectangle.
Yes, rectangle. You're right. That's right.
Okay.
It was a big rectangle, not like Emos, but like a real big rectangle. And I think if I ate it now, I wouldn't be able to finish it. But when I was 8 years old, it was like the greatest delicacy.
Choice. What was the meat?
It was like a sausage, kind of like a crumbled
/ hamburger. Yeah.
It was like crumbled. It might have been hamburger. It might have been a mixture.
If they would sell that somewhere, I'd get it.
I think they might.
Really?
I think you might. Well, you find out where the place sources it from, but it's kind of like seeing the sausage being made that you might not want to know, like what the bulk price is. But I remember loving it.
It's a great text. Jackson's such a prima donna. That's from Willie.
A prima donna is only what you call wide receivers you don't like.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
It's nice coding.
What do we got here? Because you're high on your questions, this inspiration that you had. You can talk it over. The people are in there talking over. Your mom's boyfriend's talking to, is that Zam?
Zam? Oh,
Bro
yeah.
definitely ties his sweater around his neck.
I've done it once or twice.
Clayton Davis and Dan Jansen and Tiny Pee-Pee.
I think it's going to be a big flannel winter for me. I think I'm gonna really up my flannel purchases.
It's grunge season, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's a good, it's like a flannel overcoat almost.
All right.
So
Jackson
just
has announced
stay
the
tuned
fall
for that.
fashions on Balloon Party.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
What are the series of questions known as today?
Tasty Tuesday.
Tasty Tuesday. All right. What do we got? Question 1, Tasty Tuesday on Balloon Party. Keep in mind, Jackson was inspired in the middle of the night with this list of questions.
All right. What's more fun or thought-provoking for you as a sports talk host? Breaking down the thought process of a pitching change in a meaningful baseball game, or breaking down the dynamics of clock and play management late in the football game?
I don't really feel strongly about this. I have to
All
be
right,
honest
over
with
one.
you.
Over one.
So
No
again,
one,
these came to you in the
no
middle
one
of-
hits 1,000. I feel like you're slow playing me here.
I was so excited about the show because I know you know my mind, and if you were high on it, I'm like, oh, this will be good.
But I know your mind also loves breaking down, like when the Cardinals took out Quintana in 2022.
Yeah, I thought that was Twitter echo chamber BS. I didn't think it was a bad move.
I'm not saying you thought it was a bad move. I thought you enjoyed that, breaking down like the strategy behind certain pitching moves, certain.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go back to that game, and I know you didn't say, hey, I got an opinion on game 1 of the 22 in LDS. I got to get off my
I've been
chest.
preheating it for 2 years.
But the game became all about the ninth inning, and so what took place with Quintana, although it could have set in motion the ninth inning. Here's the thing for me: the honest answer is, with the DH in the National League, it's reduced some of that strategy.
Right. Totally.
So one of the things that I loved about baseball has been reduced. Is baseball, I don't want to say sells its soul. I think tries to hold on for another decade or two of relevance.
And in a way, selling it. So I remember equating it a month ago to, it used to be a chess match. Baseball management used to be a chess match, and now it's more of like a
National League.
Yeah, and now it's more of like a jigsaw puzzle. Like you have this piece, this piece, this piece, how they all fit together to make it. So instead of a chess match, you got more of a jigsaw, which is fine.
Yeah.
But what's more thought-provoking, chess or jigsaw puzzles?
So what I guess the topic is, if you're doing sports talk radio, is like you yell about Nick Sirianni.
Right.
That's the thing today.
Right, but we talked about the Kentucky game yesterday. Mark Stoops deciding to punt when you have Georgia on the ropes.
So I suppose if you to grind down on these two specific things, Mark Stoops punting with about 3 minutes left, trailing by a point, in what was initially a 4th and 3 play at midfield.
Right.
When they're whatever they were, I would imagine 21 to 28 point underdogs. I don't know. I feel pretty confident that it had to
At
be
least 21.
in that range. Versus the Nick Sirianni thing, and the Nick Sirianni thing last night with them throwing on 4th down. Here's the difference from me, and then this is why I look at our industry as a dumpster fire. That I'm going to go down to Columbia, Missouri, and Syracuse, New York, and Evanston, Illinois, and do a scared straight program and get everybody to switch out of their journalism major. Is the Mark Stoops thing. Before the game was decided, I was watching that, and I was actually thinking about texting Gabe, going, because I knew he was watching the game, going, what in the hell's he doing? It wasn't based on, like, Georgia could have fumbled. I still would have thought it's a bad decision.
Right.
Nick Sirianni is catching hell because Saquon Barkley dropped a ball he catches 90% of the time.
Right.
And that bores me.
Right.
It's dumb. It's results oriented. It doesn't stimulate my mind.
Borderline grifting.
It's grifting. It is.
Yeah.
It's a take that you really don't believe, and you had no opinion until a guy who signed whatever ridiculous deal this past offseason dropped a ball that he catches for real. I mean, at least 90 out of 100 times.
Yeah.
But now we're going to blame the coach and talk about whether or not he's lost the locker room in game 2. When if a man makes a catch, he makes 90% of the time. We're not talking about it.
Right.
Mark Stoops was not results oriented. I suppose that's where I'm coming from on it.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like, by the way, the Quintana thing wasn't getting that much attention, if you want to go back to that, when it happened. Yeah. Some people were talking about it. I will say that. Some people were talking about it in the moment. But That's the thing. Like, it's like analyzing a poker hand and judging the way somebody played it while you can see the cards on television and go, "What an idiot!" Well, you have to understand they don't have that information.
Right.
It's incomplete information.
Yeah,
and there's a reason they're there, and I'm sitting here.
Yeah, a 2-minute drive is really a Take Smith's playpen.
Boy, you're having a big couple of days. What did you say yesterday about Morgan Wallen and Pat McAfee? Dudes need guys?
Dudes need guys.
Guys need dudes.
Dudes need guys.
Dudes need guys.
Dudes needs guys, and they've picked Wallen and McAfee, and God bless.
Okay. And then what was the latest take? A 2-minute?
A 2-minute drive in
Is
football is a Take Smith's playpen. That's where you can second guess like there's nobody's business. Like, I would have for sure thrown it
like
deep.
Here. This is one I'll be happy to go 100-1 odds.
All right.
I mean, nobody's going to take me up on it, but that somebody who is in the midst of managing their team to a 90-plus win season will be held accountable for a bullpen move in Game 1 of whatever 30-team playoff system that Major League Baseball has, with not bringing in some guy no one's heard about. But on the broadcast, they make a big deal out of it.
Right.
And then, like, I don't know, David Ortiz screams at Gary Sheffield or something about it in the postgame. And while it's going on, nobody thinks anything of it. And now this manager is potentially going to get fired at the end of the playoffs after managing the team to 90-plus wins.
Yeah.
It bores me.
Yeah.
It, like the sport under the sport becomes, hey, can we get a guy fired? You know what I mean?
Right.
And grifting isn't. I think of grifting as somebody disingenuously, unethically, trying to cash in.
Yes.
I just think it's, I don't know, lazy isn't the right word, because I feel like that's a sports talk radio cliche. Fraud, embarrassment, lazy.
Meaning the town soft.
It's just. There's too many of us doing this crap.
Again, podcast equipment needs to cost $1 million.
I like that take.
Yeah.
You're having a huge week.
Yeah, well,
this is your big week. This is Jackson's week.
I'm cribbing from, of course, our North Star of morality, TikTok commenters.
Podcast equipment needs to cost $1 million.
Yeah, there's certainly some examples that would lead you to think that.
Some.
Yeah, right. Most.
All right, 10:18 in St. Louis time check, brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. Tim McKernan, Jackson Bennett Burkett with you. This is Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN. It's Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Programs driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton, Toyota. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. Jackson's very excited about his questions today. You wake up at 4 in the morning and you said you were cooing like a baby at the light?
So in the morning when I wake up, right, my first alarm goes off at 4:30 a.m. And like right when it goes off and like right when I wake up, I kind of am like a newborn child, just like kind of like cooing and like rolling around, like looking for light, like where's my phone, like what's open Twitter, who's grifting, and then 15 minutes later, like I mentally age to my current age, and then I'm ready to rock. But it takes me it's like kind of cold starting a diesel engine, like you gotta let it run for about 10 minutes.
Look at you're a diesel guy. I would have never guessed.
Right. I had a friend, I'm just gonna tell a quick story. I had a friend in high school who said, all right, I'm gonna meet you at this place, but I gotta get gas first. They get gas. They call me 5 minutes later saying my car's not working. It's breaking down. Nothing's working. And she tells me, I was like, what gas did you put in? And she goes, I don't know. I just picked the cheapest one. I was like, did you put diesel in your Toyota Highlander? And she was like, I guess. And I was like, oh my God, you need to call AAA right now. We got to get that fuel out of there. So don't fill up with diesel.
Highlanders in high school.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
What you guys tried cutlasses?
Wow.
What?
What a moment.
What?
Can we take live phone calls today?
What? Pintos?
I had an 85 Oldsmobile,
Nice.
white walls.
Right. Subwoofers.
That I drove up to Pietro's to bust tables.
Yeah. No room in the trunk because it's all
And try
subwoofer.
to make $1 out of 15 cents, a dime and a nickel.
Right. Spinners on it. Wait, you said white walls?
I mean, I wanted to show wealth.
Oh my! Could you imagine seeing a white wall tired car driving down the street nowadays?
To go bust tables off of Watson Road. Jackson, what is question 2 today?
Sure. On the heels of Bryce Young being benched, how do you know if a problem is with a player or the system they are put in? I ask because of the Bryce Young situation, but I think it also applies locally here with the Cardinals' talent development issues. How do you know it's the player or when it's the system?
Well, I think I have to. I was reading that Bryce Young had been benched yesterday, less than 24 hours after Panthers coach
Dean Ellis.
Dave Concepcion. Is that it?
Dave Concepcion's the coach. They are coached by Dave Canellis.
That's correct.
He looks younger than me.
He had spoken out right after they lost to the Chargers on Sunday that he's their quarterback. He's not moving on to Andy Dalton. And then yesterday, something he saw, quote unquote, changed his mind. And I couldn't help but think that the very active owner of the Panthers, David Tepper, who whacked Frank Reich and has gone through coaches left and right since acquiring that franchise,
Whacked Matt Rule,
had something to do with this move. Now, we could have a lot of Carolina Panthers fans in the audience, and they might say, no, that's not the case. But I just get the sense that if you've got a Carolina Panthers fan, you've got a person who's not a big David Tepper fan. That's my sense observing the situation in Charlotte.
by the way, Panthers head coach Dave, I'm going to say it's Canellis.
Concepcion, right.
And Cliff Kingsbury. Handsome gentleman.
What are we doing on this show lately?
Look at this picture of...
I'm not all of a sudden going to go, I went from hetero, but now all of a sudden Jackson showed me a picture of a guy, and I'm going to start to tell my wife I got to go out on a date tonight.
Listen,
like
if you're
Vito.
comfortable with your sexuality, you can identify that a man is a handsome man.
Sure, absolutely, but I don't stop a show in the middle of it to say, hey, look at these hot guys who've coached in the NFL.
This guy, I mean, this is like some sort of GQ model. Look at that hair. Big fan. He shouldn't have benched Bryce Young, though.
Yeah, back to where we were. Do you want to do your Mount Rushmore of hottest NFL coaches?
Riverboat Ron had that kind of like, he'd be there for you kind of vibe.
So like you're saying he's like a daddy?
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
In a way. No way. Sirianni. People like Nick Sirianni.
Why does Jackson say the things he says?
Someone's got to talk.
He builds up equity with the audience and then he coos like a baby in the morning, and then he just throws it all away to Marsh's burner.
That's how I like to
live. What
live.
if Marsh were a head coach in the NFL? You'd immediately become a fan of that team. I know you would.
Yeah. I mean, Lord knows I need a team, so if Marshy wants to hop on. I don't build up any equity with the audience, but I do kind of like the constant dance with death where it's like, oh, maybe Jackson is interesting. And it's like, nope. Got to keep people on their toes.
Wow. Anyway, Jackson, there's my response.
I didn't feel like my question was answered at all.
Well, here's the thing. I don't view the Bryce Young thing as it being Bryce Young. I view they got an owner who's bat crap.
Right.
That's what I think is going on there.
I was too lost in this guy's eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a mess. That strikes me as a mess of a situation.
Yeah, boy, the Panthers are world-class bad.
I'm telling you.
They're
I don't know why
bad.
I've seen so much Panthers football. I guess I just have Red Zone on. They'll occasionally show it, but that is a mess.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we're even talking about it, but I know I talked about it last week. I said, hey, the Saints. Hey, look at the Saints, what they did in Dallas this past weekend.
Yeah.
But this Panthers thing, keep an eye on it. We might see a spread of like 17 points at some point in the near future in a Panthers game.
Yeah. I was going to say something. I forgot.
You saw Dave Concepcion again.
I can't get over this guy.
What is happening on this show? That's from the 636.
Sports Talk. Does
Biddles wake up to acoustic Morgan Wallen featuring Post Malone? That's from the 573.
No. I don't mind that song, though. I like Post Malone a lot. He's not my guy, but I like him. Damn it, I was going to say something interesting.
Clip that off. That can be a promo for Balloon Party. What's question 3? And maybe while you're reading it, you'll think of another hot NFL coach.
Just give me a minute. All right.
BK and Ferrario can't begin soon enough. It's from the 618.
It's all right. You can hang on. Let's go with this one. This one's interesting because then this one, people can also send in their answer. The Christmas episode of The Bear, a.k.a. Fishes, if you remember.
Yes,
just
high anxiety.
Big time. Won an Emmy last night, or 2 nights ago, for Best Directing.
So this is a dated question.
I had it yesterday. I just didn't go to it. For Best
I thought you told me that you were inspired with these questions in the middle of the night by the Archangel Gabriel.
I don't know much about the Archangel, but I do know that...
Show prep.
I just had this one in the holster, and I like this question. It won an Emmy for Best Directing for a comedy series. It's one of the most stressful episodes of television ever. What was a sporting event you watched where you had a similar amount of stress, where each play had you longing for a glass of water and maybe a Newport?
Oh, Instaship.
Yeah, I know what you're going to go with.
What do you think?
Game 7 against Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember saying to my wife, I think she actually said it to me, I don't know if I can handle this any longer.
Yeah.
And that was in the intermission between the first and second overtime.
You could say the same thing about that Christmas episode of The Bear.
Yes, that was anxiety-inducing. The Missouri LSU game last year really emotionally impacted me, so much so that I was startled by it and a little disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was more at peace with the loss to Georgia.
That game was stressful too, though.
Yeah, I was really irritated during it.
Yeah.
But the LSU one hit me harder, and I really still, I don't know on that. But the Blues and Dallas Stars Game 7. Oh,
double OT. Yeah, a double OT Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs is just brutal for the fans. Oh. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's truly, I'm not being facetious
if we were
here.
to be on the ticket down in Dallas, I doubt they would call it awesome. You know, I mean, we know what happened here.
Yeah,
well, I know you. I'll let you know. The Blues actually won a
big rig.
Yeah.
It was a big, 7's wild. Game 7, he wore number 7. It was May 7th.
That's exactly right. Look at you.
Yeah, I remember things.
But the intensity while it was going on was not enjoyable.
No,
it was not enjoyable.
You can look back on it with reverence, but in the moment, you're like, I just end it. Someone needs to end it.
Game 6 in the 2011 World Series, while we look at it now with incredible reverence, the big difference there is you were already prepared for death in the 8th inning after Beltre's home run. And so you had kind of gotten to get peaceful with it.
Yeah.
And then you have incredible hope after the triple. and then the drop off after the Josh Hamilton home run. So that was an up and
then
down.
Lance Berkman.
Then Lance Berkman. So it's back and forth and back and forth. Then when you get to the bottom of the 11th, you're kind of free rolling.
Exactly. It kind of comes out of nowhere.
The Rangers pitcher, what the hell is that guy's name?
Mark Lowe.
Dave Concepcion.
Is that Derek Lowe?
Derek Lowe pitched for the Red Sox. I think Mark Lowe.
Mark Lowe.
And that's a guy, when he was walking off the mountain, tip of the cap to Fox for catching that.
Oh, yeah.
He walked off, and that was just a guy who knew before he even got out there that it wasn't going to go well.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'd play in the World Series of Poker, I'd see the guy at the table, and I'd go, this guy doesn't know it yet, but those chips in front of him are going to be in front of me within the next few hours because I can just see it. And he walked off, and he had the exhale. I knew that was going to happen.
You think Michael Walker had the same feeling in 2014 in San Francisco?
I think Michael Walker didn't even know he was on the roster.
They're like, Michael, get up and pitch. He was like, me?
I'll do it in Jupiter in 4 months. I didn't know I was pitching. No, you got to give up this grand slam to Ishikawa, and then we can all head out. No, I didn't know I was active.
I have a tea time tomorrow.
So Game 6 was different than the Game 7 against the Stars. What else we got here? Cubs versus Guardians, Game 7. 2016 World Series was anxiety-inducing for a lifelong. I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
I would.
That would be tough.
See, the Red Sox, when they finally got theirs,
it was sweat-free. I mean, at least they were free rolling.
I mean, when you talk to a Red Sox fan about 2004, they barely mention the Cardinals thing. They talk about the Yankees thing.
Well, I mean, when you come back 3-0.
Well, sure, understandably so, but that's how much of a non-factor the best team that most of us have ever seen in our lives were for those 4 nights.
Tumbling.
10:33 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. Jackson's got questions that are 2 days old, but he's claiming they were inspired last night in a visit from the Archangel Gabriel right there at Tam and Nottingham.
America's Corner.
America's Corner. That's exactly right. This is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals win last night. Final score of 4-0 over the Pirates. The Cardinals will play again today against the Pittsburgh Pirates. First pitch at 6:45 p.m. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back. Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. Jackson has released 2 of his 4 most attractive head coaches in the NFL in the first half of the show, so stay around to find out who the other 2 will be here over the next 21 minutes. This is fun.
I guess I'll just enter in one now, and we'll do one in the last segment.
Okay. It's going to hurt time spent listening, but whatever.
Pretty in on Sean McDermott.
Wow.
Pretty in.
Wow.
I like what he's got cooking.
You're going rammying.
Sean McDermott? You're thinking of Sean McVay. Sean McDermott, head coach of the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, surprise play. Yeah, I thought you were just like going full out heel here.
McVay is like the biggest look at me coach of all time.
Is that right?
Having the get back guy, employing a guy on your roster to solely pull you back because you can't control yourself on the sideline. You're going to walk on the field. So look at me.
So Sean McDermott is...
Yeah, I'm kind of in on Sean McDermott.
Okay, there it is. Can't wait to hear who will be...
Yeah, you won't believe who the 4th one is.
Wow, that's great. This is becoming Orlovsky's program. All right, Jackson, what's question number 4 on the questions that were represented as being delivered to you via Inspiration or Night?
Well, I kind of teased this one on TMA about the ManningCast.
Yeah, kind of a situation developing here.
So my question is, because they do it on Zoom... Does it feel like a little bit too much like COVID times, and therefore people just like either subconsciously or consciously just like, this is not like I'm kind of out on watching people on Zoom again.
Jackson makes the mistake that he thinks everybody listens to TMA, and while I'm a perverted
sun worshiper,
sun worshiping narcissist, I believe.
Yeah.
I just will reset it on the off chance people didn't get in to hear HD2 this morning. You said on one of the questions that the ManningCast is falling off. Last week had its lowest numbers since it debuted. And Pat McAfee then, who you attacked yesterday.
Dudes need guys.
Along with Morgan Wallen, made the observation on ESPN, bold, that it's going to become more of a social media clip show than it is for people who want to watch the game. We were theorizing that perhaps the presence of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman as a top broadcast team, people aren't as apt to switch over than, say, when it was Booger McFarland and a kid from the Lindbergh School's play-by-play department getting a chance to do Monday Night Football 3 years ago on ESPN.
Yeah, Louis Reddick, is he on there?
It was just a rotating cast year in and year out on ESPN.
They had Booger on that like contraption that would move across the field. It was like, what the hell's going on here?
All right, got away from him. But now you got Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Joe Buck going to be with us on Friday, by the way. So maybe people aren't as... If they want to watch the game, you got those 2 guys. I don't need... One of the things I noticed last week when I was watching that you had Manning, Eli, and Peyton talking with Bill Belichick. They're in 3 different spots. And because Belichick has that monotonous, slower delivery.
Yeah, not on my hottest coaches list.
And he's not on. Okay, so there's kind of a spoiler alert. Also hurting time spent listening. That they were stepping all over each other.
Yeah.
And so it was a rough listen. But either way, it had the lowest ratings it's had. And, I had it on last night, and I'm like, I kind of want to watch the game. I don't know. I don't know if it's like Belichick might be good like as a one-off. I think people tune into that if they don't necessarily want to focus on the game. And if you have, the game can be a background if you have like Will Ferrell on or something like that. But if you got 3 guys in 3 different locations who haven't really worked together talking about the game, then it's delayed, and then another play is started up, and then, Peyton's doing a stand-up, in his fake football field.
Yeah.
So, I think that kind of may be playing into it.
That they don't have, there's no real dynamic. Like, neither of them are doing play-by-play. It's like having two color commentators on at the same time, but they're on delay, but they're on their own individual delay. Like, Eli was a little quicker than Peyton's yesterday. So, Eli would ask a question, 1 beat, 2 beat, 3 beat, Peyton would answer. Right. Peyton would ask a question, 1 beat, Eli would answer. And it's one's mic is better than the other. I just, to me, it takes me right back to COVID broadcasts, and something about that, maybe even subconsciously, is just I don't really want to watch this anymore. Plus, when you have Joe Buck and Troy Aikman calling the game, it's I just rather watch that.
Are you selling all your stock on the ManningCast?
No, because I think it could be good. I just think they need to reposition it some way. What
do they need to do?
I think they have to be in the same place. I think they have to be in the same place.
I don't know if you're going to get that.
I'm not saying it's feasible, but I think if they're going to make it
feasible, I don't know if two guys worth 9 figures are going to go, we got to, for 17 weeks or 18 weeks, fly to the same spot.
Feasible is the wrong word. I don't think it's likely that will happen.
Right.
But I think that's the only way to make it really substantially better. Because otherwise, what are they going to do?
But then, let me play this hand out.
I like playing hands.
Okay. You got Peyton and Eli. Now they're in the same place. Are they in Secaucus? I don't know. I think they
can meet in the middle in St. Louis.
It's not a bad idea. Those Channel 9 studios.
Yeah, or I could host them at my place.
Jackson's place.
I have a chalet.
I bet you do. And now, if Bill Belichick's going to be on, now we got to get Bill Belichick to your chalet.
But you could have the guest be on Zoom, because one person on Zoom versus 3 people on Zoom, automatic, we're already in a better place.
Okay, I just don't know if that's really going to be something that Peyton Manning at this point in his life. Peyton Manning's net worth, what do you think? Because everybody who has money submits it to a site to have it uploaded.
Well, we can go career earnings, of total contracts.
He's also done fairly well in the marketing
No doubt, but I'm sure he's done fine enough in career earnings that we won't even have to worry about that. I'll go $210 million.
According to purewow.com, which is the gray lady of net worth.
Sounds like that's been a domain for about a week.
It's $250 million.
Okay, well... That was via Pure Wow. The hell is that?
Probably somebody who was killing it in our industry 5 years ago.
That's a side hustle.
Yeah. I mean, even if they offered him $5 million, it didn't worth his time.
Of course not. And that's fine. But expect low numbers to remain if you're not going to do anything to improve it. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. And they might just go, okay, we don't need to.
Sure. I want Peyton, and I honestly really like Eli I think he has a lot of talent too.
Eli is good because of Peyton's personality. It's the foil.
Yeah.
If you had 2 Elis, you'd have a KOMU weekend newscast.
I'm kind of into that.
So are my buddies. They'd sit there and they'd get high and they'd watch and giggle.
Sign me up. This sounds great, but I don't get Eli has the Hulu show coming soon. I think Peyton's super talented. I think they can do something, but I think at a certain point, you're going to have to be a little bit uncomfortable. Tom Brady has to go travel to do all these games too.
Well, he's making $350 million. But
he also has $350 million.
I understand, but he wanted to do it. I never thought he was going to do it.
Yeah.
$350 million. I mean,
well, clearly Peyton and Eli want to do something, but it's I won't leave my house.
Something at their,
right, and they can do whatever they want. I'm not trying to chastise Peyton and Eli, but. I don't even know if they're complaining. I don't even think they probably care about the numbers. They're like, are we doing the game next week? Yes. All right, I'll see you then. But if they are really committed to making the ManningCast as good as possible, one of them or switch off are going to have to, take a little flight.
How about this? ManningCast is off for the next 4 or 5 weeks, which is only going to make people realize they prefer Joe Buck and Troy Aikman without the awkwardness.
Yeah, I don't think that will help them. But they've taken breaks in the middle of the season before. I feel like last year and the year before that, they were weeks 2 through 6, they weren't on.
I don't know what this means, but I'm going to read it anyway. Jackson would love it with Wallen and McAfee.
No, I wouldn't. Not at all, actually.
If it was the Wallen and McAfee cast?
That sounds awful. But that's not but that's because I don't think they would have much chemistry. But dudes need guys.
Keeps going back.
But McAfee and someone else, McAfee and we talked about Will Compton on TMA, I think they would actually be really good together.
Will Compton of Bonne Terre, Missouri.
Yeah, I think they would be really good. I think Pat McAfee and maybe not A.J. Hawk, but another quiet linebacker would be good. James Laurinaitis. Is he busy?
All right, we're going to find out who Jackson's fourth hottest coach is.
That's right. And you won't believe it.
Coming up, you won't believe who Jackson thinks is the fourth hottest coach in the National Football League. That's next on Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, presenting sponsor of Balloon Party, the place I go to get my cars, the place I recommend you go to get your cars. It's stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. If you are in the market for a new car or a pre-owned car, just go to stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com and go shopping right now. And if you have any questions or requests for the people in charge at Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, they set up a number specifically for our listeners to call or to text. And that number is the following: 314-252-0029. 314-252-0029. Even if you did not get your car from Munganess, St. Louis Acura, or Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, they want to service the vehicle for you, and they will do a wonderful job. Ryan Seiberg and his team. It's Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. Why, Jackson, you usually brief me when we're coming back because you know I'm just scrolling TikTok over here.
It kind of caught me by surprise, too.
Do you want to announce your fourth hottest NFL coach now, or do you want to save it?
I feel like we should save it till the end.
Yeah, TSL.
Yeah.
Thundercat is in the YouTube chat.
He used to work a lot with Mac Miller. May he rest in peace.
And he says, are we really picking hot coaches?
Yep.
WTF's going on here? To each their own. But do we really give an S? That's from Thundercat in the YouTube chat, and he is not happy with your ranking of the 4 hottest coaches.
Yeah, I've kind
in the NFL.
I've kind of given up on trying to satisfy everybody, so I'm just doing me. So you're witnessing. This is my truth.
The Emancipation of Mimi. That's what Mariah Carey titled her album, to let people know she is free as a bird now. And this is the emancipation of Piddles.
What's your favorite Mariah Carey song?
Oh, boy. So many great Mount Rushmores today.
You pick one.
I mean, One Sweet Day with Boys to Men. I mean, how does that not get you weeping like Dick Vermeil talking about Wilbert Montgomery?
I'm going to go Fantasy, but the remix with Old Dirty Bastard.
Nice. Don't say that word on
ODB.
HD1. Thank you, because I'll have to explain that to my kids.
Wu-Tang.
Jackson, do we have time for the final question today? Or are you just going to do the Nick Sirianni announcement and move on?
All right. Well, you know how I like asking like the best question at the end?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Well, here we go. How do you think patience for sports fans has evolved in your time covering sports? Do you think fans are more or less understanding when it comes to building a product? Do you think perception is skewed due to social media fueling the fire?
I think you hit the nail on the head. The latter. Coach is got to get fired.
Right.
I mean, it's just...
You think, and does college football especially play into that?
It strikes me as the absolute Dante's Inferno of...
It's week by week.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they should give out week by week contracts to some of these guys.
I mean, I was observing things through the Missouri fans' eyes in the 14-3 deficit, and
You think drink Seek got a little hot?
it's just absurd. But if you can... I mean, these aren't necessarily like, CEOs having conversations in a Discord.
Yeah.
This is more of a...
Yeah, well, how come college coaches aren't funny? Like there's no college coach out there that's funny.
Well, I was talking about the people calling for their jobs, but...
Yeah, that too. Like Lane Kiffin's funny.
I think it is so... It's got to be so insane, like the crap they deal with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if you've ever experienced an obsessive audience.
I've been there once or twice.
And then the obsessive audience that may not be aware that they just don't know.
Yeah.
Like walking up to, say, Nick Saban and telling him what defense he needs to run, and then Nick Saban needs to go, oh.
Yeah.
Because they might sign a $3 million check.
Right.
So you got to sit there and play that game.
It's kind of like running for office in a way.
Ooh.
Like you have to do like glad handing, and you're always working.
You got to like run around and metaphorically use your hand on older guys who still wish they were 18 to 22. And then you got to go run around and metaphorically do the same to people who are 15, 16, 17 and get them to come to your school, but you need the money from the older guy in order to get the younger guy to come play for you, and theoretically he can be there 1 year, and if he doesn't like one thing you do, then he does a big post on Instagram that then gets the older guys, not because they're on Instagram, but they hear about it through their kids, mad at you because you lost the 16-year-old who did a look at me on Instagram thing.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of money in it. Looks like Billy Napier is going to get a check for $26 million. That's lovely.
God, does he just want to get fired so bad?
Oh, my goodness.
If he loses to Mississippi State, like they won't let him fly back, right? He'll just fire him on the field.
I would imagine he'll be at a Motel 6 in Starkville Saturday night.
Yeah. I don't think they'll let him come back. Do you watch those SEC shorts, right?
Yeah, I do.
Really good.
I haven't seen this week's now that I think about it.
Really good.
Yeah, they do outstanding.
Because Vanderbilt being on the high of beating Virginia Tech has now come down to earth. Quite
Georgia
a funny,
State.
Kind of fun.
I really wanted them to beat Georgia State.
Because they might have, they probably would have snuck into the rankings, but they would have been undefeated.
They were getting votes this time last week.
Yeah, they would have been undefeated at the very least, and then you have another half decent win. I think the Boston College is a beyond decent win. I think it's a good win.
You give me Boston College win total this year at 9.5. And I'm gonna have to go in the tank.
Well, I guess the ceiling is right now 10 or 11.
No, it's
ceiling's 11. Ceiling's 11. They have one ranked matchup currently left in Louisville.
I'm just telling you, I'm high on Boston College, and it mainly because of their schedule. I mean, if they had,
I
want to make this clear. I don't think they'd run the gauntlet in the SEC.
No,
So the Big Ten.
But they have
the ACC is really a butt-ass festival.
Big time. Like tough matchups against North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, if Miami were to run into it and you go, oh, Miami might not that be with them. Who is?
I think Miami is that good. I'm riding the Hurricane bandwagon.
But it's about the win at Florida.
I think they're the quarterback that they have.
I agree with you on that.
I think he's next level good.
I agree with you on that.
I gotta get my hottest coach.
You got to announce your fourth hottest coach. This is what everybody's tuning in for.
Speaking of the only coach who I think is actually funny, Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel is Jackson's fourth hottest coach in the NFL.
Well, it was in no particular order. Oh. It's just like my Mount Rushmore.
Oh, okay. So who's on your Mount Rushmore of NFL's hottest coaches?
Dave Concepcion of the Panthers, Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron. Who else did I say?
Wow.
I said somebody. Mike McDaniel, and I can't remember.
What a list.
It wasn't Norv Turner.
Norv Turner?
It wasn't Norv Turner.
He hasn't coached.
Hitting back on my computer. Not Eberflus.
Oh, my God. With Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott, thank you.
I was going to let you just bleed, but
Yeah,
it's
we got
11 o'clock. And I'm like, I can't take up BK and Ferrario's time while this guy figures out who the third hottest coach in the NFL is.
Yeah. Dan Campbell, honorable mention.
Nice to have that. All right, time for us to go. Jackson will have his four hottest coaches in the NHL tomorrow.
To do some research.
BK and Ferrario are up next. For Jackson Bennett Burkett, I'm Timothy Michael McKernan. This has been Balloon Party, driven by ManningCast, St. Louis Acura, ManningCast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN.